Hi everyone, I hope you're all going well. Today's webinar is called Floored by Incorez and will describe a few flooring systems and how Incorez product can help you to achieve better performance with them. So here is today's agenda. We will first discuss about use of Incorez product into PU1K flooring system for balcony, for example, before moving on to polyaspartic system. We'll then move to Amirez product, which works as an accelerator for PU primer, but also for PU2K system. The second part of this webinar will be then more focused on water-based epoxy system with an emphasis on Amirez 148055. To quickly introduce myself, I work as a senior business development manager at Incorez. I've started 6 years ago in the sales department as European sales manager. I was previously working for our distributor in France, and before that I was doing some R&D advisory and some consulting. As an education background, I'm a chemical engineer, and I've also done a PhD in material. So the good thing about my technical background is that I'm able to understand the R&D and technical people from the customer and to transfer them to our application R&D department. So first system, Incorez and Amirez additive. What are they? Basically, we've got here two technologies, but with similar application. So Incorez products are Oxazolidines, while Amirez are Aldimines. They are both reacting with water in the system and the humidity from the air to avoid the bubbling into PU system. The main difference is coming from the exact application. So Oxazolidine will be typically used in aliphatic and TDI system, while Aldimine are also compatible with MDI system. There is different product in each range. Typically, Incorez 2, LV, and Amirez A are low viscosity and are suitable for PU2K system, while Incorez 4, EH, and Amirez BH are more for PU1K system. To quickly go on Amirez BH, because we will not talk about this one further into the webinar, typical application here are PU1K MDI system for sealant and waterproofing. First system we will discuss is PU1K for flooring. And before jumping into the details of the system, let's watch a short video to explain how Oxazolidine are working.
Bubbles. Most people love them. But if you're a polyurethane protective coating specialist, you'll be absolutely sick of the sight of them. Traditional polyurethane coating applications have a slow and haphazard curing process, which allows moisture or humidity to cause unwanted reactions, generating CO2 bubbles. These create pinholes or blisters, which weaken the film integrity and spoil the finished appearance. And because the bubbles occur during the curing process, there's nothing you can do about them, right? Wrong. Incorez oxazolidines can solve these problems from the start. With oxazolidines, the curing process begins immediately, forming a waterproof barrier straight away. The reaction also works from top to bottom, so moisture doesn't penetrate the coating and damaging CO2 bubbles are prevented. This results in tougher, more durable protection for a wide range of applications, from industrial roofing and balconies to wind turbines, commercial vehicles, and aeroplanes. You'll also have Incorez's 30 years experience and commitment to building unsurpassed customer chemistry, ensuring you get the most out of every product. Incorez from Incorez. Talk to us about your next generation of polyurethane protective coatings.
As you have seen in the animation, the main aim of the oxazolidine is to avoid this reaction between water and isocyanate, resulting in CO2 bubbling, which in the end will weaken your film and give poor appearance. So the overall idea is to have oxazolidine reacting with the water first. But that's not the only thing we do. So if you look at the oxazolidine molecule here, which is a bisoxazolidine, like Incozol 4 and EH, once it will react with the water, you will actually generate an amino alcohol that will be reactive in your system. First of all, the amine function will react with the isocyanate to generate polyurea, while the hydroxyl function here will cross-link your system as a polyurethane. So instead of having a moisture cure system, you have actually a moisture trigger system. It's slightly different because this means you only need the water to start the reaction, but once the oxazolidine has ring open, it will actually drive your overall curing into your formulation. You won't need moisture in the rest of the reaction. This is a typical PU1K formulation you can achieve with IPDI and Incozol EH for flooring, balcony, and roofing. And on top of this defect-free appearance you get from the moisture scavenger effect, you also have a faster structure. As I explained, the Incozol 4 and EH are working as latent hardener and are cross-linking your system. So the overall film will dry faster thanks to that. So you can see here that thanks to Incozol EH, your work-on time will be basically half. So instead of having a 1-day curing time, you have 12 hours. Another way to see it is that you will be able to have a drying time, a decent drying time, even at lower temperature. Other benefit is that, as I said, the cross-linking will be better. It will result into higher shore D hardness, so going up to 80 or 90 shore D, which is significantly more than the control that was not using Incozol EH. And you will be also able to achieve a higher tensile strength. So while typical PU1K system have a tensile strength of 2 or 3 megapascal, the system with Incozol 4 here can nearly achieve 10 megapascal. The fact that your system is better cross-linking will also enable you to have better chemical and stain resistance, as shown on those graphs, which make them more suitable for heavy-duty flooring. As a summary for this system, we have now a moisture trigger chemistry, which enable you to have flooring with high-end properties. And also it will ease the formulator life because the fact that the reaction is only moisture trigger and not moisture cure make it independent of the overall humidity condition. So you can use the same formulation whether the temperature is a bit lower or even if the condition humidity is higher. So you can have the same formulation where it's applied into Nordics or Asia or South America. The fact that the oxazolidine is also for functional, making it faster cure and more durable film. So as a summary, you can say that Incozol 4 and EH will enable you to achieve high-end properties in your PU1K system. Second system we are covering here is polyaspartic with Incozol 2. Incozol 2 is working slightly differently than Incozol 4 and EH. One of the reasons is that it's a monooxazolidine. This means that once it reacts with the water, it's not going to cross-link your system. But in the case of polyaspartic, you don't want the faster cure because it's already fast enough on its own. So in this case, the Incozol 2 is actually acting as a buffer. Because it will react first with the moisture, it will avoid the same moisture to actually get your system chaotic. Because what happens with polyaspartic is that usually when you're in a control area, everything is fine. Like in the lab, you can get a pot life of half an hour, 45 minutes, or 1 hour. But then when it's come to the real life and that the humidity is higher, then your pot life can easily decrease at 15 minutes or even less, which making basically impossible to apply. So by replacing some of your polyaspartic resin with Incozol 2, you will give more flexibility to your system into the formulation, which make it applicable in more, I would say, open condition. In this case, we have a white pigmented formulation with a very good pot life of 2 hours and a quite low viscosity. This is also one of the benefits of Incozol 2 in those systems, is that Incozol 2 is only 50 centipoise, which is basically cutting the viscosity of the polyaspartic resin. Of course, as for many polyaspartic, you achieve very high hardness, ultimate hardness, and also very good gloss with fast drying. But Incozol 2 can also be used to formulate clear coat, and again, the fact it's low viscosity and that it's dealing with the humidity problem, you can then achieve even a no-VOC polyaspartic coating with, again, decent pot life of 1 hour, 100% solid, good hardness, and fast drying. Moving on to the Aldirez. As for Oxazolidine, I will start with a video to introduce the product.
Across every industry, time is of the essence, and nowhere more so than in the construction sector. At Incorez, our ability to innovate allows formulators and applicators to create time-saving products, leading to Amirez, our accelerator for PU coatings. Amirez accelerates curing in a wide range of weather conditions, particularly in low temperatures, allowing contractors to overcoat quickly, reducing time on site all year long. Amirez is a versatile additive, working in aliphatic and aromatic 2K PU systems, eliminating moisture and CO2 gassing. To speed up your formulations, talk to Incorez. Amirez from Incorez, the future of Aldimine performance now.
As you probably understood, the A in Amirez stands for accelerator. So how does Amirez product works? It's pretty similar to Oxazolidine. The main difference is that because you're starting with an Aldimine here, you end up, after reacting with water, with a primary amine instead of the amino alcohol for Oxazolidine. Your amine there will then react with your isocyanate to make polyurea. And that's why you get a faster cure, because in the case of Amirez, the amine here is very short and very reactive. It actually doesn't need the catalyst, the acid catalyst, which is mentioned here. This is mostly for Amirez pH, which is a far bigger molecule and linear, which needs some help to react with the water. Amirez is fast enough. And as you can see in this formulation, it can be used with PU primer to achieve very fast drying. You can even get to 2 hours full drying, even at 5 degrees. As an example, the system won't even cure at 5 degrees without any Amirez. Second typical application where Amirez could be used as an accelerator is PU2K self-leveling. We've got here a very extreme example because we are talking about a clear coat, so a clear self-leveling system that would be applied up to 4 millimeters in one layer. So obviously, because we are talking about a clear coat, the drying of such a system could be really tricky. In this case, Amirez is used in the part A. We also added some Incozol 2 to dry the system first. The reason being is that you want the Amirez to stay unblocked into your part A so that it starts reacting only once that the part A and part B are mixed together. And thanks to Amirez, this type of system can cure in 1 day only, while without it, you would never achieve a drying. You would need probably to apply 2 or 3 layers. This last formulation is ending the part about flowing solvent-based and solvent-free flowing. We will now move to the water-based epoxy flowing system with an emphasis on 148.055. And as for previous product, let's start with a short animation to explain our overall philosophy with epoxy hardener.
In the world of industrial and decorative coatings, ordinary protection is not enough. What you need is a curing agent with a special intelligence. One that's equipped to create the ideal formulation characteristics and versatile enough to address any challenge in the flooring market. That's why Incorez has developed the Amirez range of waterborne epoxy curing agents. Amirez products are ideally suited to the formulation of high-performance coatings because amongst their particular set of skills is the ability to ensure zero VOC, low odor, and exceptional adhesion to many substrates, creating a perfect, lasting bond. So what makes them so stubbornly resistant? All our Amirez curing agents react with epoxy resins to produce outstanding 2K waterborne epoxy systems. They have the versatility to cure both liquid resins and solid epoxy emulsion resins, providing resolutely durable industrial and decorative floor and wall paints with excellent abrasion, chemical, water, solvent, and impact resistance. While their waterborne nature, with low odor and ultra-low VOC, makes them user-friendly too. And because the secret to our success is not just about great custom chemistry, but great customer chemistry too, we work closely with leading manufacturers, focusing on their needs, to provide the optimum flooring solution for every application. By constantly innovating, tailoring, and improving our product performance, we're on a mission to deliver the best possible results, whatever the surface. Amirez from Incorez, the more effective curing agent.
So Amirez 14855 development has been quite long. The reason for that is that we wanted to be sure it was fitting most of our customer requirements. So a few years back, we requested our customer for insight and feedback on what would be more or less the ideal water-based epoxy hardener. And it come up with the following requirement: an improved viscosity, good curing time even at low temperature, improved compatibility with both different types of epoxy resin, but also with pigments, especially blue and black pigments, and also improved gloss when needed. So during all development, we focus on the below mentioned properties like hardener viscosity, pigment wetting, water resistant, blushing, compatibility with epoxy, pot life, cure speed, low temperature curing, gloss, and hardness. And during the development, while we were starting to think about developing a top coat with those properties, when we checked the water resistance of 14855, we actually realized it was really good and that it was still good after 6 months of its immersion applied on concrete. So that was actually a block of concrete that was coated with 14855. It was last there for 6 months, a bit forgotten. And then when we move it out and check it with the dolly pole, we realized the adhesion was really good. So that's where the all-in-one comment is coming from. So the product is actually very good as a primer as well. So we basically tick all the box and then have a product that could be both used as a primer, but also as a top coat. We then tested all the other properties like pigment wetting, blushing with different epoxy. And we then measure and compared those properties against typical market leader. So compatibility with epoxy resin and pigments, spot life, cure speed, hardness development after application, and gloss. So we have here the comparative results with the different type of epoxy resin. First one being bisphenol A epoxy resin Epicoat 828. You can see here that our product in gray gives a fast cure, good gloss, good compatibility with a decent pot life. Results are getting even better for BSA with diluent like DER324 with a very fast cure, rapid hardness development, still good gloss, good compatibility, and slightly longer pot life. Some of the best results are then achieved with BCA with diluent. It's important to notice that for all those three types of liquid epoxy resin, the end of the pot life is still visible. We then have also compatibility with solid BCA epoxy resin with very good results overall, very long pot life. The only drawback here is that you don't have a visible end of pot life. But the overall results are really good with those type of epoxy resin. As I mentioned in the first slide, the drying speed was really an important point for our customer. And obviously, since a region where it could be quite cold early in the year or late in the year, the drying at 5 degrees was one of the requested feature. So you can see here that with BIS AF and BIS A with diluent, you can achieve a 1-day full cure at even 5 degrees, which is really good for water-based product. And as you can see, because we tested all the type of epoxy resin, depending on the exact properties you want to focus on, we can advise the right epoxy resin, keeping in mind that the compatibility with pigments and with the epoxy resin will be good, whatever the epoxy resin. I will now move to a few formulation guides that we've developed based on 14855. You can see here a light gray top coat formulated to be 0-VOC. You can see that the pot life is very good with 2 hours, but still quite fast drying time of 8 hours. Ultimate hardness being pretty high with 260 pesos with a good gloss. Similar performance is achieved for the concrete primer with this light formulation, still no VOC, fast drying, and very good gloss and hardness. To summarize on the water-based epoxy hardener, you have seen from the video that all the hardeners are pretty, I would say, low toxicity with APO, formaldehyde, and solvent-free. The overall Amirez range gives wide possible application with floor, wall coating, primer on concrete, or top coat. And in the case of Amirez 14855, you also get a very good compatibility with all type of epoxy resins and pigments, even the very shiny one or the difficult one like blue or black pigments. You've got an overall very good water, chemical, and abrasion resistance, and a good intercoat adhesion, which make it suitable to develop a full system based on it. So with primer and then a top coat. Before moving on to the overall webinar summary, I just want to develop on this particular slide where we say that the secret of great custom chemistry is customer chemistry. For us, this relationship with the customer is really important. And the water-based epoxy hardener range, Amirez, is a good example. Because we did all those testing with the different epoxy, we know very well the additives that enable to formulate our product to get the right performance. So the gloss, as an example, we are talking here about achieving high gloss, but actually we also know the additive that can help to get a satin ending or even a matte without using any matting agent. Just by adding the right additive, you can play on a few properties. So we've got all of our application team is dedicated to help you with your formulation to achieve the right properties. But if the additives are not enough to achieve what you're looking for, we can then look more deeply into your need and then put someone from R&D on your case to develop a tailor-made epoxy hardener for your need. So I think it's really important to come to us and discuss about your needs so we can offer the right product. As an overall conclusion of this webinar, we have now seen a few applications of solvent-based and solvent-free PU system using Incorez and Aldimine. We have learned that with Incorez and Aldimine, you can achieve bubble-free system for your flooring. In the case of PU 1K, aliphatic and TDI system, Incorez 4 and EH will help to get high-end properties with very good durability and toughened system. Incorez 2 on his side will enable to have a more controlled pot life and curing in those chaotic polyaspartic system. And to finish, Aldimine A providing a kick to your curing with a very fast drying PU primer and also enable thick single applied layer self-leveler. And to finish, our water-based epoxy hardener with Amirez 14855, which enable fast drying at low temperature with no VOC, low toxicity, and that could be used for both primer and top coat. As a last slide, I would like to advertise our last range, which I was not able to cover in this webinar. So we've got a PUD range, and lately we've been doing some chemical resistant testing on our range. And Dispure 101A, which is a PU acrylic hybrid based on polycarbonate, is actually giving very good resistance against all type of product that you could use to clean your flooring in this COVID-19 time. So because of its high chemical resistance, it's really suitable for flooring protection against bleach, against hand sanitizer. If you want more information about our PUDs, we've been recently sharing a webinar on our success story with PUDs. So please check our website or on our YouTube channel for more information. Thanks a lot for your attention.